Now position and displacement vectors. To describe the position of an object moving in a plane, we need to choose a convenient point. Yes, to describe the position of an object moving in a plane. Okay, so suppose this is a plane, consider xy, y, x. Suppose here is the object. How to choose the position of this object? To choose the position of the object, first we have to find a initial points, that is the origin. Where is the origin should be? So this is the origin. Okay, that is very important. To get the position, origin is important. So to describe the position of an object moving in a plane, we need to choose a convenient point, say O as origin. Okay, let P and P dash be the position of the object at time t and t dash. Here is the here is the picture. O is the origin and P is the position when the time is t, and P dash is the position when the time is t dash. Okay, so how to find out the position? Then OP is the position vector. See, this OP is the position vector when the time is t. When the time is t, the OP is the position vector, and when the time is t dash, OP dash is the position vector, and OP is represented by the symbol R and OP dash is represented by the symbol R dash. So here R and R dash are the position vector. Okay, so it is represented by a symbol R, that is OP equals to R, and point P dash, now it will be easier to explain the picture as well as the theory written over here. So represent by another position vector OP dash, yes, denoted by R dash, that I have already told. The length of the vector R, the length of the vector R, okay, represents the magnitude of the vector. The length, that means here we can easily see that the length of the R is less compared to the length of the R dash. That means the position of P from the origin is close compared to the position of P dash, right? Okay, so if the object moves from P to P dash, initial position was P and the final position is P dash, that means the object moved from P to P dash, then P dash will be the displacement vector. Yes, then P dash will be the displacement vector. Here the tail will be at point P, because initial position was P and final position was P. That means the displacement vector will be starting from P towards P dash. Okay, so displacement vector corresponding to motion from point P to point P dash. When the point was P, when the object placed at point P, then the time was T, and during the time of final position the time is T dash. Okay, so what we have seen in this picture, we have seen that R is the position vector, R dash is the position vector. To represent a position vector, we have to choose a origin, okay, and P to P dash is the displacement vector. P to P dash is the displacement vector. See, the position vector, the length of the arrow represent the magnitude of the position, and arrow is the direction, which direction the body is moving. At the same case for R dash and for P to P dash. Okay, now this is very important, this is very important. Let me highlight, very important to note that the displacement vector is the straight line joining the initial and final positions. Yes, the initial positions here we can say that P, final position is P dash. So displacement vector is the straight line. It always has to be straight line joining the initial. See the displacement here, displacement we have to show only the displacement. Okay, so that's why we have to represent it by a straight line. So joining just the initial and the final position and does not depend on the actual path undertaken by the object between the two position. Yes, does not depend on the actual path undertaken by the object between two positions. For example, here they have given an example in this. See the path in this case, if the path is okay, let me read it so that I can explain you very easily. For example, figure given the initial and final position as P and Q. Yes, this is the initial position and this one is the final position, and this is the displacement vector, that is PQ. PQ is the displacement vector. Here the path is not important. Suppose the journey of the path is PABCQ. PABCQ. Okay, PABCQ, in this way the body moves from in this way. So here this path is not important, only the displacement, initial point and final position. At the same case PDQ, suppose the body moves from P to D then Q, the displacement is only PQ. At the same time PBEFQ, PBEFQ, at the same time the displacement is P and Q. Okay, so it's a very important point that the displacement vector is the straight line joining the initial and the final position and does not depend on the actual path undertaken by the object between the two positions. Okay, so the displacement vector is the same PQ for different. Okay, now the magnitude, very important point, another important point, the magnitude of displacement is either less or equal to the path length of an object between two points. Yes, displacement has to be either less or equal to the path length of an object between two points. Displacement vector always has to be equal or less. This fact we have already emphasized in the previous chapter also while discussing motion along a straight line. Yes, during the time of motion along a straight line, the distances, if I compare displacement and distance, then distance either equal with the distances or it has to be less than the distances. Okay, so we learned position and displacement vectors. Now equality of vectors. Equality of vectors. Suppose two vectors A and B are said to be equal. Okay, very important point, listen to me very carefully. Two vectors A and B are said to be equal if and only if they have the same magnitude and the same direction. Two vectors A and B are said to be equal if and only if they have the same magnitude and same direction. These two vectors will be equal vector. Suppose here I am writing a vector, let me, this is 10 meter, this is 10 meter, making this arrow this side and making this arrow this side. So they are not equal. Okay, they are not equal. So to make this equal, I have to make the arrow this side, then they are equal. Got it? So only magnitude is not the one condition, there has to be the same direction also. At that time only we can say that two vectors are equal. Got it? Two vectors A and B are said to be equal if and only if they have the same magnitude and the same direction. Okay, same magnitude and the same direction. Okay, figure 4.2a shows two equal vectors. Okay, where is 4.2a? Okay, I have to go next page. 4.2a shows two equal vectors. Okay, see this. Now is it clear? 4.2a, this picture, two equal vectors. See the directions as well as magnitude all are same. Here magnitude is represented by the length of the arrow. The length of the arrow magnitude is represented by the length of the arrow, and the direction is also same direction, so they are equal. Okay, so two equal vectors, we can easily check their equality. Shift B parallel to itself until its tail Q coincides with that of A. Yes, that is Q coincides with O, then since their tips S and P also coincide. Very simple thing. The two vectors are said to be equal. In general, equality is indicated as A equals to B. That we already know, that A equals to B is, that means A, the value of A is equal with the value of B. Note that in figure 4.2, vectors A dash, this vector, and B dash have the same magnitude. Okay, see, they have the same magnitude. Okay, but their direction is different. Their direction is completely different directions. So even if we shift B dash parallel to itself, if I shift B dash parallel to towards A, so that its tail Q dash coincides with the tail O dash, if I shift B, then it will be like this. Okay, they will not coincide with initial and starting point, initial and ending point. That means the O dash and Q dash will not coincide, at the same time P dash and H dash will not coincide. Yes, does not coincide with the P dash and E dash. Okay. Unequal vector. Now multiplication of vectors by real numbers. Real numbers means 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the real numbers. Okay, and the here in case of vector, real number is denoted by the symbol lambda. Okay, lambda. So multiplying a vector A with a positive number lambda gives a vector. Multiplying a vector A, okay, with a positive number lambda, suppose 2 meter east. If I multiply this 2 meter east with 2, then what we will get? We will get 4 meter east. Okay, so if I multiply with a positive number, then the value will be positive. If I multiply by a negative number, then the value will be negative. Yes, but the direction is the same as that of A, only the magnitude will be increased. Okay, direction will not, direction will be same. See here how we present it. Lambda is a real number, A is a vector. See the modulus. Okay, mod lambda A equals to lambda, then modulus of vector. If lambda has to be always 0, yes, lambda always has to be 0, either 0, then the result will be 0. For example, A, same example, A is multiplied by 2, the resultant vector 2A is in the same direction as A. See here how represented there. A is multiplied by 2, same direction, this is also in the same direction, and just the magnitude of the A has been increased. A and has a magnitude twice of A. Yes, if this one is 2, then this will be 4. Okay, multiplying a vector A by a negative number lambda negative, then what will happen? Direction will be changed. Very simple thing, magnitude will be increased but direction will be changed. Gives another vector whose direction is opposite to the direction of A. See this, that okay, let me see. Here is a positive vector. If I multiply it with a, if I multiply this vector with 1.5 minus A, then the direction will be opposite. Okay, and whose magnitude lambda times A. Multiplying a given vector by a negative numbers, sorry, multiplying a vector A by a negative numbers, say minus 1. See here, A is multiplied, yes, minus 1 into A, then the result will be just opposite to the direction of A. And the second case, in this case it is multiplied by minus 1.5, gives vector as just opposite. Its magnitude has been increased but direction is in the opposite direction. Okay. Okay. The vector lambda by which a vector A is multiplied could be a scalar, yes, having its own physical dimension. The factor lambda by which a vector A is multiplied could be a scalar having its own physical dimension. Then the dimension of lambda A is the product of the dimension of lambda and A. Got it? Let me clear these things by example. For example, if we multiply a constant velocity vector by duration of time, what will happen? See, velocity is displacement by time, right? If I multiply this with time, then what will happen? We will get only displacement. That is also a vector. Got it? If I multiply with a scalar quantity, time is a scalar quantity, the factor lambda by which a vector A is multiplied could be a scalar. See, t is a scalar quantity, right? Time is a scalar quantity having its own physical dimension. Yes, t has a physical dimension, that is t. T also has a physical dimension. That means only lambda which has a value, we can also multiply a scalar quantity which has a value as well as dimension. Okay, the dimension of the lambda A, see, the dimension of the lambda A is the product of dimension of lambda and A. See, here the dimension will be changed. Okay, the dimension will be changed. If I multiply a vector with a scalar quantity, then the dimension will be changed. Okay, for example, if we multiply a constant velocity vector, the duration, that's all. Okay, now addition. Let me clear all these things so that it will be easy to explain you. Because just a minute. Hope you guys are understand, because I am clearing you each and every line of this chapter, because I am okay. So try to anyways. Okay, so now addition and subtraction of vectors, graphical method, not analytical method. We will read graphical method. So what we have learned previous, we have learned position vector, displacement vector, okay, then equal vectors, unequal vector, and then multiplication of vector by real numbers. Okay, in multiplication of vector by real numbers, what we have seen that if I multiply with a positive number, we will get magnitude will be increased, direction will be same. If I multiply by the negative number, the magnitude will be increased but the direction will be opposite direction. And if I multiply a vector with a scalar quantity, its dimension will be changed. Okay, its dimension will be changed. Now addition and subtraction of vectors, graphical method. See, graphical method, that means geometrical method. Okay, so as mentioned in section 4.2, that is 4.2 equal vectors, by definition obey the triangle law or equivalently. What we have seen, let me show you. 4.2, here a vector quantity is a quantity that has both a magnitude and a direction and obeys the triangle law of addition, yes, and equivalently the parallelogram law of addition, that we will read now. Mentioned 4.2 vectors by definition obey triangle law or equivalently the parallelogram law of addition. We shall now describe this law of addition using the graphical method. Let us consider two vectors A and B. Here we can see that A and B, two vectors. Okay, that lie in a plane as shown in figure 4.4a. Simply they are just lying on a plane. Okay, on a plane. The lengths of the line segments representing these vectors are proportional to the magnitude of the vectors. The length of the line segment represents these vectors that are proportional to the magnitude of the vectors. Okay, now to find the sum a plus b, we place vector b so that see here a we have just shift the vector a to this point and place vector b so that its tail, this is head tail method. In triangle law, head tail method or triangle law. Okay, triangle, that means we have to connect the head of a vector with tail of another vector. Okay, just we have to connect with the head and tail, head tail method or triangle method. We place vector b so that the tail is at the head of the vector a. Yes, then we join the tail of a to the head of b. Tail of a, o, tail of b, tail of a with head of b, and this is the resultant vector which is represented by the symbol r. Then we join the tail of a and head of b. This line OQ represents a vector r, that is the sum of the vectors a and b. Yes, resultant vector. Since in this procedure of vector addition, vectors are what happened? Okay, arranged head to tail. Yes, head to tail. This graphical method is called head to tail method. Hope you got it. As I told, that triangle law of vector addition is also known as head tail method. So in case of triangle law we have to follow head tail. Okay, but in case of parallelogram law we have to follow tail tail. Very important. Triangle law head tail, parallelogram law tail tail. Okay, the two vectors and their resultant from three sides of a triangle, so this method is also known as triangle method. As I told you, triangle method of vector addition. So what we have seen, in triangle method we have to connect head to tail. This is also known as head to tail method or triangle method. Got it? Head to tail method or triangle method. Okay, if we find the resultant of b plus a, the same vector r is obtained. Thus vector addition is commutative. Very important. If I add a plus b, that is equals to b plus a. Okay, because the resultant vector will be same. Okay, so that's why vector addition is commutative. Commutative means 2 plus 3 will be 3 plus 2. Vector addition is commutative. 2 plus 3 will be equals to 3 plus 2. Vector addition is commutative. This property is known as commutative property. Okay, next. The addition of vector also obeys the associative law as illustrated in figure 4.4d. The result of adding vectors a and b first and then adding vector c is the same as the result of adding b and c first then adding vector a. See, 3 plus 2 in bracket plus 4 is equals to 3 plus 2 plus 4. This is known as associative property. In case of commutative property there are two vectors, and in case of associative property there are three vectors. See here the 4.4d. See in this picture. First what we have done, we have find out the resultant vector between a and b, and this is the resultant vector. Okay, and then what we have done, the resultant vector of b and c. This is resultant vector of b and c. Okay, after that what we did is that we just connect the resultant vector between A and B plus C and also A, B and C. Okay, see, first A and B, head of A, B, tail of B, then what we will get? We will get resultant vector of this. Okay, now there are three vectors, draw C. So the resultant vector between B and C will be B plus C, right? This is A plus B and this is B plus C. Okay, now if I draw the resultant of A, B and C, then what will be the vector? This will be the vector A, B, C. And if I draw the vector between A and B plus C, that means this one, A and B plus C, at the same time I will get the same vector. Okay, so this is commutative property. What is the result of adding two equal and opposite vectors? What is the result of adding two equal and opposite vectors? Consider two vectors A and minus B. What we have seen in our previous paragraph, the resultant of addition of two vectors, that is by triangle law. And addition of vectors also follow the associative rules as well as commutative rule. Now we will see that what will be the result of adding two equal and opposite vectors, and this is also known as subtraction, because there is no such method to subtraction. This is also addition. Okay, what is the result of adding two equal and opposite vector? Consider two vectors A and minus A. In that case their sum will be A plus minus A. Suppose this is A vector, how to see? This is a vector and this is another vector. This is A and this one is minus A. How to get the resultant of these two vectors? What I will do, if minus A is positive vector, then what will happen? Just I have to shift. This will be like this if it is positive. If the A is negative, that's why it will be this way. Here I also connect this and this will be the resultant. Consider two vectors A and shown figure 4.3 B. Let me 4.3 B. Okay, 4.3 B, where is that? Okay, 4.3 B. This is 4.5. Where is 4.3? 4.4. Okay. I have already read it. A and minus A. We have to just add it. Two equal and opposite vectors. Consider two vectors A and show in 4.3b. Their sum is A plus minus A. Since the magnitude of the two vectors are the same but the directions are opposite, the resultant vector has zero magnitude. Yes, since A plus minus A, since their two vectors magnitude is same and their direction is opposite, that's why it will be a zero vector and is represented by 0, called null vector or zero vector. A plus minus A is equals to 0. This is a zero vector or null vector. See, this is another type of vector. Okay, zero vector, what we have seen in our previous paragraph, that equal vector, unequal vector, this is also a zero vector. When the magnitude of an vector is 0, it has only direction, there is no it has no direction also. Okay, there is no magnitude as well as direction. If there is some direction, that will be unit vector. Okay, if a vector has no magnitude, that means the magnitude will be 1 and it has direction is 0. It has only direction, then the vector will be unit vector. See, very important, If the vector is 0, then it will be null vector. There is no direction, there is no, that is a positive and the negative of a will be same. Negative of a will be same. What will happen in that case? The magnitude will be 0 and it will be represented by 0, called null vector or a 0 vector. Okay, since the magnitude of a null vector is 0, its direction cannot be specified. Very simple thing. How can I specify this direction? There are two directions. It's not possible. The magnitude, as the magnitude is 0, it is not possible to specify the direction. The null vector also results when we multiply a vector a by the number 0. Yes, the main properties of 0, that means null vector, are when you add with 0, it will be a vector. When you multiply with 0, a real number with 0, then it will be a null vector. And when 0 will multiply with a vector, it will be a null vector. Hope you got it. This is the main properties of 0. Main properties of 0 vector or null vector. If you add with a 0 or null vector, then the magnitude of initial vector and direction will be same. If you multiply a null vector with a real number, then the result will be a null vector. Very simple thing. And if you multiply a vector with a real number, then the resultant will be 0 or null vector. What is the physical meaning of 0 vector? Very important. What is the, let me highlight these things. What is the physical meaning of 0 vector? Consider the position and displacement vector in a plane as shown, that is previous in displacement and position vector 4.1a. See in this 4.1a initial, what I told you, that position and displacement vector here, yes, here. Position and in NCERT, that's why it is complicated. The picture is another page and the abbreviation is another page. Anyways, so now suppose that an object which is at p at a time t, let me draw these things here. O is the initial point, p is the final point when the time is t, p is the initial point and p dash is the final point when time is t dash. Okay, so this here I am r and r dash. Okay, fine. And this is the displacement vector. Okay, now t moves to p dash, then comes back to p. Yes, if p moves to p dash, then comes back to p, then what is its displacement? 0. Since the initial and final position coincide, the displacement is a null vector. Got it? Initial and final position will be coincide. Goes to this point, again come back to the initial point, then the displacement will be 0, and that's why it is a null vector. So how many vectors we have now? We got it only position vector, displacement vector, equal vector, and 0 or null vector. 0 or null vector having no direction, having no magnitude. As it has no magnitude, so it is very complicated to find out the decision. It has no specific direction to get the direction. Okay, and what I told you, unit vectors, and hope I will, there must be unit vector. I will explain, I will get this in next paragraph or next page also. So now subtraction of vector. There is no such method of subtraction in vectors. As I told you, there is no such method for subtraction. We can add a vector. Okay, can be defined in terms of addition of vectors. So in vectors there is no subtraction, we can add it. We can simply, if anybody tells subtract a from b, then what we have to do, we have to make this a into negative form. Okay, I have to make this a plus b, that is I have to add minus a with positive b. Okay, that means magnitude will be same but direction will be changed. That is the subtraction of vector. So let me explain you from this can be defined in terms of addition of vectors. We define the difference of two vectors a and b as the sum of two vectors a and minus b. Got it? Difference between two vectors a and b as the sum of two vectors a and minus b. It is shown in figure 4.5. The vector minus b is added to vector a to get r2 a minus b. We have already shown where 4.5 is here, right? 4.5 is here. Yes. R2 a minus b. A, see the difference between this vector and this vector. B is positive vector, so the difference will be its direction has been changed. See, the magnitude will be same. This was in this direction and minus b will be opposite to the direction of b. Its resultant will be completely different. This will be the resultant, and for positive vectors a and b, the resultant will be this. That is the difference. Okay, you have to just make the direction opposite to the positive of the direction, then we have to find the resultant of the two vectors. Okay, so vector is added to vector a, get a minus b. The vector r1 is a plus b is also shown in the same figure for comparison. We can also use the parallelogram method to find the sum of two vectors. As I already told you, there are for addition there are two laws, two methods. One is triangle, another is parallelogram. Most cases it is very easier to solve the addition by parallelogram method, and in 95% cases we will follow this parallelogram method. To find the sum of two vectors, suppose we have two vectors a and b, what we have to do, we have to just make a parallelogram. To add this vector, we bring their tails to a common origin. Tail to tail, we have to, as I told you, triangle is head to tail and parallelogram is tail to tail. ताल से ताल मिला, एक गाना था ना, ताल से ताल मिला. Tail to tail. Suppose a is a vector and b is a vector. Tail to tail. Now what I have to do, I have to make a parallelogram. Then the diagonal of this parallelogram will be the resultant of these two vectors. This is for addition. Now if I make the difference, then what will happen? I have to just, this one is a, so the, and this one is b, then opposite of b will be this direction, this is minus b. Then the same thing I have to do, I have to do a parallelogram, and this diagonal will be the resultant of the difference between two vectors. Got it? Okay, so common origin O as shown in figure 4.6. Let me go to the 4.6. Yes, see this, A and B, just they have made an parallelogram, then the R is a resultant vector. Okay, here what we have seen is that tail connect with tail, and this one is triangle method, head and tail triangle method. This one is head and tail triangle method. In parallelogram, we bring their tails to common origin O as shown, and then we draw a line from the head parallelogram, another line from head to head of B parallel, a complete parallelogram OQSP. Now we join the point intersection of these two lines of the origin. The resultant vector R is directed from the common origin O along the diagonal OS of the parallelogram. 4.6c, the triangle law is used. As I told you, here we can see that, see here, head tail, here head is connect with tail. This is triangle law, and what we have seen here, here is tail with tail. This is parallelogram law. Hope you got it. In case of parallelogram law, what we have to do, we have to connect with the tail of a vector with another vector, and in case of triangle law, we have to connect with the head of a vector with another tail of the vector, and simply we will get the resultant. Here the resultant will be same. So what we have learned, let me give you a conclusion. First we have learned position and displacement vector, then equal vector, then null or zero vector. Between this, in case of addition, there are two types of addition process. One is triangle law, which is also known as head tail method, and parallelogram law, which is tail tail method. Vector addition is very important. Vector addition is commutative and associative. There may be some spelling mistake, so please ignore that things. Try to understand the concept. And so here is an example. See, the rain is falling vertically with a speed of 35 meter per second. Okay, rain is falling vertically falling. That means this will be the rain. Wind starts blowing after some time with a speed 12 meter per second in east to west. See, east to west, this is the wind, VW, wind, and the VR is the rain, speed of rain. Okay, now in which direction should a boy waiting at a bus stop hold his umbrella? In which direction? Okay, on which direction? So what I have to do, we have to make the resultant of these two vector. The velocity, how to get the resultant? See, as we know, in case of parallelogram, the diagonal will be a square plus b square root a square plus b square. Okay, and the magnitude will be 37 meter per second. And if theta makes an angle with vertical rain, then the value of tan theta, what will, then the velocity of wind by velocity of r, simply 0.343, and the value of this 19 degree. This 19 degree is making an angle with velocity of rain. Okay, hope you got me.